Hello and welcome to the Auto Guide Show. This week, Kyle drives two German cars. I drive two cars at complete opposite ends of the spectrum, and we have our first returning guest. But first, a word from our sponsor. eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. With their new secure purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. And eligible vehicle purchases are backed by up to $100,000 in protection. This is what modern car buying looks like. Get your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary. Okay, so to get started, we have a lot to talk about this week. And like I said, we have a returning guest that we'll want to have a lot of time to talk with. So let's get through this quick. So we'll start with how the week started, and that was the 2026 Nissan Sentra first drive that I went on. And don't have to spend a lot of time on here because it's not that much different than the old car. It's got new styling on the outside, which, I mean, I don't mind, especially on the SR. The SV and SL, yeah, I'm not sure. They're trying to give it the corporate face that the Leaf and the Murano have, but it doesn't work in some spots. The rear's nice. Mm-hmm. The inside, they've done a big update. They got the sort of single pane double screen thing that everyone's doing that are digital. You can customize it. The switchgear's nice. They have this cool thing with these center vents and some controls between them, and it looks like a triple vent thing. So that's all good. It's much quieter inside.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, the wind noise and engine noise are kept down. Although we heard, myself and the person I was testing with, a lot of road noise. And I don't know if it was just the roads we were on. It's hard to stay without driving something back to back, but we were surprised, the tire hum. Mm-hmm. But biggest issues under the hood still. I mean, cars are too powerful these days, yeah, but the 2-liter with 149 horsepower, especially in the SR that's supposed to be somewhat sporty, it's like 20 horsepower short of what I think it needs to be. Around town, it's okay. The CVT it's connected to is much improved compared to what Nissan used to have, but it's not fantastic. But oh man, you get on the highway and you punch it and you can count the miles per hour increasing in real time because it's just you're just praying it goes up. And like you don't have to go crazy. You don't have to give it like the 3-cylinder turbo to the Rogue or anything. Like just the Ultima's 2.5 entry engine, like that would be a fine upgrade, and I can't imagine it'd be hard to put in. But suspension wise, it's always been a good mix of comfort and somewhat responsive. Much more on the comfort side. It has very skinny tires. The SR has 215s. That's the widest tire you can possibly get on the car, so that's interesting. It makes it feel more responsive because there's like no weight to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same Sentra in my opinion. Not in like it's the same car, but it's the same market segment they're going for. This is a tremendous value in the S and the SV. You get a lot of stuff for the price. It's even price at points that some of those competitors don't even start at. But when you get to the SR, especially mine that had a bunch of options, or the SL, you're getting over 30,000 with destination, and that's putting you sort of in the heart of the loaded up competitors like the Mazda 3 and the Civic and the Corolla Hybrid that all have now much more upgraded power, or hybrids that have more power and better efficiency. And one side note, this is worse on gas, even though it's more aerodynamic, which I don't know. Just 1 mile per gallon combined. No, it's actually almost the same. It's like a handful, I think, pounds heavier. It's 1 mile per gallon worse overall and 2 on the highway. So, yeah. But, I mean, it's not terrible. It's still 38. It's just, I was surprised when usually a new model is even better than the old one. But so that's it in a nutshell. It's a great value proposition. Big, compact, if we still call them that. Tons of space inside. Get the SV, you get good options, you get a good price. It's proven mechanics. And as much as I'm kind of ragging on them for it, it's like we know what you're getting and it should be reliable. It's just it's like a mid-trim car, I think.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's still like, that's good. Some people just want that, right? So, I mean, and we said in our mega comparison earlier this year that the Sentra just needed some updates, and so this seems to solve it. I'm curious to get behind the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, if they put a hybrid in the SL, that would, I think, really transform it. But who knows? Maybe one day. So moving on, Kyle, you drove another 911, but this is one you hadn't driven yet.
Yes, I drove the 911 Carrera T, which is now the only way you can get a manual transmission in a regular 911. So the GT3 and the Touring still come with one, but all the other trims, all the Carreras, are automatic only, except this. And this is actually manual only now, whereas the T before you can get either. So it is the lightest regular 911. It weighs exactly the same as the mid-level GR Corolla trim. So it's a little over 3,300 pounds, which is like pretty impressive, right? Like I know that that's heavier than cars used to be, but 3,300 pounds, rear drive, manual, 388 horsepower. Like this is all we need from a 911, and I kind of loved it.
That's lighter than like an Impreza. Yeah, 3,300 pounds is fantastic for this day and age with the safety systems that cars have to carry. Like that's where a lot of the weight comes from. People think we're just getting bigger, fatter cars. I mean, we are, but it's because they need 75 airbags and all the electronic
crumple zones and
like the reinforced steel beams and
like cars are safer than ever before, but there is a trade-off to that. So I say that the 911, the current one, is a little bigger than I think people realize. Every once in a while driving this, you're like, oh yeah, it's larger. It still drives very compact compared to most vehicles on the road. But you know, I'm more of a 718 person. I just am. This was great. It's low key because I mean you get the little stickers on the side, but you don't have to get those. There are some questionable options on the T because it's the manual. Porsche really tries hard to let people know. So there's stickers in the rear quarter windows that have the shift pattern, and then there's also puddle lights from the side mirrors when you open the door that has the shift pattern, which feels a little try hard, but I mean maybe people like it. I don't know.
Well, you know, the people who have the money, they're buying a manual 911 brand new. Maybe that's what they want. I mean, it's a very small niche demographic. So
this has the base engine from the regular 911. It's 388 horsepower, like I said, plenty quick. You get the manual. You get a few of the choice options, like the sport suspension, so you get it a little lower. This one, it was lightly optioned, which I thought was nice. It has the nose lift, which I think is necessary. The base seats, so they're only 4-way adjustable. Perfect. Don't need more. It was great. It was fascinating because I drove this directly before driving the hybrid GTS, which is a very different beast. And that thing is super quick, but this just had a little bit more feel, right? Because it's lighter and because it doesn't have ridiculously wide tires, you can have fun at speeds that wouldn't immediately remove your license. So yeah, overall, I thought this was great. And I mean, it's not a deal because no 911 is a deal anymore. But for $140,000-ish as equipped, it's a lot of fun, and it's fun in a way that doesn't feel like it's trying too hard, which is kind of rare to find these days.
Yeah. It's crazy though, like just cars in general, like 140 and you're getting a 380 horsepower basically 911. Crazy. Anyway, moving on. Neither you or I drove the new Dodge Charger Scat Pack 6-pack. The Charger with the gas engine. So Greg did, and he couldn't join us today. So we won't spend like really any time here. I read his review. I can't wait to drive one. I've always been saying that. It's crazy fast still, even with the gas engine. If you get the 550 horsepower, it's doing 16 under 4 seconds. Yeah, the electric is 3.3, but 3.3 to 3.9, you're not feeling much difference. And you're getting probably the visceral sound and whatnot of this engine. The base engine, I say base, is still 425, still way too much for what this car needs. That'll probably be well under 5 seconds. So Greg said it's like a muscle car, and that's what the Charger is supposed to be. And it was something I was curious about, and having driven the EV twice, I'm curious to drive this because by putting all of that inline six and turbo plumbing, you've thrown off the weight balance probably. So I didn't find the EV handle that bad. It actually, for its size, it was kind of nimble. But now that you're putting probably like 60% of the weight on the nose, I'm sure it's changed how it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I
here's hoping
yeah,
to get one when it gets on the fleet.
that's what I'm hoping for too. I'll just add that I've been looking at. I read Greg's review, and I've read a few since it broke just before we recorded this. And yeah, I'm just I haven't driven any of them yet, and I would very much like to. But I get the feeling that I'm not going to love it as much as the old Challenger, because the Challenger knew what it was before, and it feels like now it kind of isn't sure what it wants to be.
Yeah, it's almost sort of like when they first brought out the Charger 300, and it was trying to be sort of a full size premium American car, and then over time it slowly morphed more and more into just a big muscle sedan, which it had its market, and it's like we're starting again, and it's slowly
Yeah.
making its way back. Like next there'll be a Hemi, and then there'll be a more powerful Hemi. Anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, moving back to something you drove, another high performance German car. You drove the M2 CS.
Yes, and this is weird actually, framing it with the 911 that we talked about just a few minutes ago. The M2 CS is less money, but way more power. Also rear drive, no manual. 523 horsepower in a 2 Series. I just want everyone to just chew on that for a few seconds. That's bonkers,
And I
right?
want them to chew on the Charger with the same size inline six turbo we just talked about. Has more power, which is also
Yeah,
bonkers.
yeah. BMW, famously known for high power turbocharged inline sixes, makes less power than the Dodge. Uh,
The 3 liter inline six turbo. It's
yeah.
crazy. Crazy world we
So
live in.
so the 1M, when it came out, what, 15 years ago, had
Yeah.
335 horsepower. This has 523. There are rumors that the M2 will have all-wheel drive starting next year, which I'm a little sad about if true, because I don't think it needs it. If you're getting the little coupe, try and make it different from the M4. This is different. I drove the M4 CS in the summer. The M2 CS is just a little bit more wild. You have that tiny wheelbase. I mean, comparatively tiny. It's basically just a little square in terms of where the contact patches are, and it makes this so lively and playful. I was given a little bit of time with it because I was at AJAC Test Fest, so I didn't have a ton of time to really get to know it. And also, it was the only one in the country, so I really didn't want to be the person responsible for putting it in a ditch.
Fair.
Needless to say, it's more talkative than a regular M2, so you get more feedback from it. Still not a ton. BMW's current steering wheels, or just steering in general, just feels a little overboosted. But yeah, it redeems the M2, the current generation one, in my mind, where it is a lot of fun and very interactive, and it's a lot of money. It's $100,000 to start, which is nuts for a 2 Series. But the people who get it will enjoy it, and the rarity gives it, an added a bit of appeal. And also, it has, you can't see it in the front picture here, but I highly recommend everyone go look at it, because the ducktail spoiler really makes the proportions much better than the regular M2. So overall, just a fantastic, excellent car. And BMW continues to make the CS models the best ones available.
All I hear is 6-cylinder engine, 150 more horsepower, still as a ducktail spoiler. Like 911 Priority versus this, I don't know.
That'd be an interesting comparison, right?
So moving on, this I won't spend too much time other than just kind of plugging for folks to go check out on our YouTube channel. We have my Lamborghini versus Lamborghini. 2 weeks ago, Kyle talked about driving the Revolto. Last week, I talked about driving the Temerario. This is driving a back-to-back. Surprise, surprise. It's the same impressions. As I kind of covered last week, I'll just briefly recap the 6.5 liter V12 in a tunnel with the windows down is ridiculous. It sounds amazing. Mm-hmm. The turbo in the Temerario with the windows down at 10,000 RPM, it sounds really cool too, but it builds so fast, and there's this huge turbo, not a blow off, but just releasing the pressure at red line. It doesn't kind of have the same echo, but they both sound great. Someone that watched the video pointed out, imagine when they get aftermarket exhaust for the Temerario, because I've heard them on the Revolto and it sounds even better. And yeah, I could see that. But yeah, Temerario, definitely more of the trackish kind of really full boil attack at all times car, whereas Revolto is just a ridiculously insanely quick car that you also could probably drive like semi long distance. I mean, you're not going to go cross country and something like that, but yeah, it's
I mean, I feel like you could, so long as you know that the nose won't catch on anything. That was my
yeah.
experience driving it. Was like it's weirdly comfortable, except it has no ground clearance.
And when you drive a dark matte green Revuelto with bronze highlights, which looked amazing, you got like that sort of brown green combo. You get attention as you're going through towns. But then after lunch, when you come back to the Lamborghini factory in a bright orange Temerario, which just happens to coincide with when school's getting out, you're a celebrity. Like there were kids chasing me literally through town with their phones out, trying to get pictures. And I say in the video, like even an 85-year-old woman working in a field or a 50-year-old guy coming out of an office, everybody just stops and looks and smiles at the Lamborghini. It's part of like that area's like cultural identity, and we don't have that in Canada or the US. Like even in the US, like, you don't like people don't stop to look at a Corvette. I mean, maybe they should.
I mean, I guess it depends on what part of the US you're in, but yeah, I was going to say, like, you're in Italy, like you are driving the national icon.
One of the two, because they also have Ferrari, but
yeah,
like I literally could have probably gone ripping through towns at 3 times the speed limit, and I'd be getting smiles and thumbs up. Here, you have helicopters chasing you and the SWAT team after you, and yeah, it's just cool being in a place where they appreciate the noise, the flash, the coolness of these cars, as opposed to just coming down on them all the time.
I mean, I got that with the Revuelto here. I couldn't go anywhere without people taking pictures or asking questions or stuff. But I mean,
probably wasn't encouraging you to redline it in downtown or do launches.
They were asking me to, but I mean, I'm not going to do that in traffic.
Whereas traffic in Italy, it's like people get mad if you don't. Like everyone in their cars, like, come on, rev it. So I'm like, oh, sorry. I had like vans riding me because I wasn't driving fast enough, and I'm like, I'm already like way above the limit. I'm not going any faster. But there, it's like, nope, go for it.
See, and I had the other thing where I had someone, I was trying to do some filming, and I got up on a car. It was young guys, right? A car full of them. When they realized what was behind them, they slowed down to less than half the speed limit so that they could all hold their phones out the window and take photos. And I was like, this is really frustrating. Anyway.
Oh, well. So our final story, we didn't drive this, obviously not yet, but we have to cover it because it's big news. The Telluride from Kia finally got its new version. The Palisade had it last year. We knew this was coming.
But it skips a model year. I mean, there is no 26. There is no 26 Telluride. There's the 25, and then there's this thing.
The 27, which is coming out next year. It'll be one of the first 27s, so I guess Kia has that. But it's interesting. The Kia Telluride from day one, I had non-car people all the time ask me about the Range Rover Kia, or the Kia that looks like a Range Rover, because it had that big boxy look. And I think since then, many companies have gone way more in on the Range Rover or Land Rover look. Like look at the Santa Fe and the QX80. But Kia decided, you know what, we can do it too. And from the back, it looks so much like a Range Rover.
Yes.
But what about that front end?
We're still waiting for the front end to load. Like Kia.
This is the XRT that we see. So maybe
yes.
Like for those who aren't looking and haven't saw it, the front of the XRT is just a black abyss. The bumper, the grille, the trim, everything's just black.
The lights, everything.
Yeah.
It's
just like the marker of the amber lights and a light strip on top is like the only thing that's not black. Like it looks like, like it's missing, or it's been not in an accident. It's just like it got its nose chopped off. But
look, I realize that journalists in general, maybe I'm taking a swing here, but like I feel like a lot of journalists praise Korean design lately. This isn't it. Like there are a lot of very fascinating, interesting looking Korean designs. I feel like this is a miss. Maybe in person it'll be different. I didn't love the new Palisade until I saw it in person. But that's a face. It's like they saw the new Outback and thought, we can put more black plastic than them.
See, I'm not a huge fan of the Palisade, and to me, it's kind of like the Palisade and Telluride, the first ones. They were somewhat polarizing, but mostly got positive feedback, and it really made a impression, and like they stood out. And it's almost like both companies are like, well, we got to go further. And it's like, do you really have to? Yeah. Like they both took their styling cues and just amped it up. And like I said, and we both said, this is just a I don't know what they'll call their GT line or what they'll call the top one. Maybe when it gets some color to the face, it'll look different. But right now, I like it from the back. It's just the front's
there's
a little...
an SX Premium that they showed a few pictures of. It's still a lot of black, but at least the bumper is body color. Yeah, you're right though. Like they're kind of leaning into it to see how far they can push it. Like Palisade is, oh, did you notice our chrome on the old one? Well, congratulations, there's chrome everywhere. And this is like, yeah.
Blackout. Yeah, Palisade was like, did you like our headlights that kind of had those horizontal lines? Well, now it's going to only be that.
That's all you can see.
And this one had that big kind of detailed grille, which is really cool. And they just said, well, the whole front's going to be that now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, well, we'll take a break here on the AutoGuide Show brought to you by eBay Motors, and we will be back with our friend James for, I don't know what we'll talk about. We'll talk about different things because last time we covered sort of his journey into the auto industry. So now we can just talk about cars. And then after that, I'll have Colum back to talk F1, and then Kyle and I will wrap up the show and take a look at what's ahead. eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. It's all thanks to their new secure purchase. Ever try to buy a car and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on some blind trust? Or spend half the day at a dealership talking to pushy salespeople and signing paperwork? Or maybe worst of all, wait hours at the DMV just to transfer the title? That era is over. For years, eBay has been the go-to for gearheads, collectors, and DIYers. Because whatever you're into, from classics to SUVs and trucks to imports, eBay's got it. And now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your next ride, it's where you can buy it, start to finish. Sellers and titles are verified, paperwork is handled by experts, and payments are traceable and digital, so you know exactly who you're dealing with and exactly what you're getting. Plus, you can finance, insure, and register your vehicle all in one place. No more hours at the dealership, no more trips to the DMV. Get your vehicle, plates, and paperwork shipped to your door ready to drive. And it's all part of one seamless process designed to feel as easy as buying anything else online. And eligible vehicles purchased on eBay are backed by up to $100,000 in purchase protection. Thinking about selling your ride? Secure Purchase makes that simple too, because you know your buyer and their funds are verified. If you still owe on your car, the financing payoff is fully integrated, so you're not chasing paperwork or waiting on checks to clear. And with Secure Purchase, you get paid fast, and you're not going to be stuck chasing no-shows or answering the 5th still available messages. This is what modern car buying looks like. Skip the DMV, skip the sketchy meetups. Buy it on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, and eBay subsidiary. All right, we are back, and once again, we have our special guest, James, joining us. You are our first returning guest, so
hey,
that honor. Yes, the first repeat on the AutoGuide show.
Nice.
So, how are things going down there? I know you're in much warmer weather than we are right now.
Oh, well, it actually started raining today. So everyone in Southern, I just anticipate the kvetching and the whinging about the horrible weather and comments of, oh, hopefully this clears up soon to come any second now, and me just to beat my head against a desk as someone who grew up in Toronto and feels very much at home in Oregon. I'm very happy when it's raining. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we got our first snow earlier this week, and kind of unexpected. They said flurries, and actually stayed on the road, and the roads were kind of snowing. And I think in the end, in the Toronto area, there's 400 accidents because you know how people are. And this wasn't even real snow, so I can't wait for the first real dumping. But yeah, I think it caught a lot of people by surprise, me included, that hadn't quite put their winter tires on yet. So
that's a little early.
I mean, it caught most of the press fleets off guard because most of them are also not on winters yet.
I mean, at least a lot of them are regular cars with all seasons. Like on my Genesis Coupe, I have way too wide, purpose-built summer tires. So luckily, I didn't have to drive it. It was parked the whole time. But there are some high-performance cars out there that were probably loaned at the time. But
I lived in Portland, Oregon, for 5 years, and that testing thing was interesting because some cars ended up with winter tires on them, and others did not, because strictly in Portland itself, you don't really need winter tires. It doesn't snow that often, and all season would be fine. So sometimes they don't put them on it. But some companies did put snow tires on them. Mercedes, for instance. Others just left all seasons, and then others just didn't change anything. They brought them up from Southern California, and I'd get like a BMW with summer tires. I have a picture of this. Maybe it was a 550i or something, and it is just parked in front of my house, surrounded by a ring of foot snow. It arrived on like Tuesday and never moved. There was so much snow on the ground because they would actually go. There would be people who would go cross-country skiing through the neighborhood because there was no effort to plow anything. So I have a picture of a guy on cross-country skis going past a BMW with summer tires on it.
Yeah, that's a good point you bring up, because there's a lot of, even in Canada, places where they don't get that much snow, and when there is even just a bit of snow, it stops the city because they don't have the system like where we are, and like Chicago and Montreal. I mean, they have like an army ready to go as soon as the snow falls, with de-icers and salters and plows and whatnot. But you go to a place that doesn't get it, and it's like 2 inches and the city's done.
Yeah, like in Oregon, it just wasn't worth it. Like he got it. Like there's no point in putting any money into it. Maybe like plow the highway, whatever. But but because we're close to the mountains, right? So people would have studded snow tires on to deal with like going up to Mount Hood, right? Which is a stratovolcano that you could go up and go ski down. So that's great. But then people are driving on studded snow tires in just kind of damp roads, which I'm pretty sure is not what you want. I'm thinking metal has less grip on pavement than rubber. Otherwise, you would be driving around in metal tires. Not a tire expert. I'm just thinking that's correct, though. So you just hear them just on town. And yeah, interesting place for tires, I would say.
Yeah, asphalt loves studded tires too. It loves getting chewed up by it. It's funny because it's banned in Ontario, so the entire province of Ontario can't have studded tires because there's no really need. But I've been places where they're more regular, and like when you go into town where it is plowed and whatnot, the pavement, it just looks like someone's taken like a grinder and sandpaper to it because years of studded tires running on it.
Or there's like channels down the middle of like where the tires go, and if you don't redo those quickly enough, they fill with water. And so then you have channels of ice. That's fun.
Well, now the studs are used again, so it all comes around, right?
Yeah. They're self-fulfilling prophecies, the studded tires.
There you go. So, as you've alluded, you're somewhere where it's a little warmer, a little longer. For those who don't know, you are driving cars as much as Kyle and I am on a regular basis. Anything in very recent memory or in 2025 really stuck out to you as either a surprise or just something memorable or something that was as good as you expected?
Okay. I just had a Mercedes GLE 450e, right? I'm not sure I've ever driven one, like including the ML. I've been doing this for 20 years. Somehow I've never driven one of these things. Except maybe briefly the one that kind of like danced up and down the like current generation. I might have experienced that, but it might have been anyway. First time I ever driven one, and it was like extremely luxurious and gorgeous. I loved it. It had this green color that's a $6,000 option, but it's basically an $11,000 option because you also have to get the AMG design package, yada yada, and a sunroof.
Wow.
But it was beautiful. Also, it had the Airmatic suspension, which is a masterpiece. I have it on the back end of my 2013 E-Class wagon. So, but everywhere it does make a huge difference. Just a lovely car. I was so surprised by just how much I love this thing. Because I had it the week after an E53 wagon, which I was a little underwhelmed by. I really wanted to love it, and I didn't. I don't think the plug-in they both had the plug-in hybrid powertrain. You can accelerate more in the AMG plug-in hybrid than you can in that 450e. Like you really, like, it's interesting. The throttle pedal basically gets cut in half. There's like a wall that suddenly appears in the throttle travel, and you push up against it. It takes a while and then effort to go through that detent to make the engine kick on and get like decent acceleration. Otherwise, it's kind of slow. When you're like really trying to take off or going to the highway. But like luxury SUV, like definitive luxury, it's beautiful. The interior, Mercedes' old interior design, I'm sorry, is more luxurious and nicer than the hyperscreen thing in that E-Class. Just a wall of piano black and screen does not look as nice as the last generation with that beautiful wood and there's those metal vents. It was just was nicer. Just so much nicer.
I've driven MLs in previous, but about 2 years ago, I guess it was, when I was at one of our the Midwest Automotive Media Association rallies, they had the GLE 450 and the 53. And I hadn't driven the new ones, and I came away the exact same way you did. I was blown away on how quiet and smooth and luxurious they felt. And driving them back to back, I was that 53 has the 6 turbo, not the 4. But even then, I was like, the 450 is all you need. This is like the perfect combo for this vehicle. It's so nice. And Kyle, you drove one recently, didn't you?
I drove the CLE convertible. It's the 3-liter inline-6 turbo mild hybrid. But yeah, I mean, similar experience where because it doesn't have a giant screen stretching the whole dashboard, you actually get some semblance of design. That inline-6 is so smooth. I think Mercedes is doing really good proper luxury stuff in the sense that like that's what I want out of one of those cars, right? I want the smoothest possible experience. I want it to eliminate any minor annoyances, and it did a good job. And then similar to what James said earlier, I drove the E53 sedan in the summer and I wanted to love it and I just didn't.
It's hard to describe. And I mean, I literally own an old E-Class. I think I like the comfortable one better. Give me more motor, cool, but I don't really need the sporty stuff on that. The other thing with the plug-in hybrid, at least in the States, the 450 and the 450e are like the same price. And the acceleration is like 0.6 of a second in the 6's advantage, whatever. And then I got 60 miles per gallon from, which confirms the MPGe from it. That's with one charge on a 75-mile mixed driving loop, including driving through the mountains, by the way. And the 450 period gets 21. So that's worse. Just get the plug-in hybrid, and it's not like it's not like you get like a giant stage worth of batteries in the cargo area. It's basically the same. So anyway, that's not a sexy answer there, but I like the GLE. I also had the Carrera T 911. That's sexier. That's brilliant. That's like the best 911. I love it.
My review for it just went out this week, and yeah, it's I titled it the Thinking Man's GT3.
Yeah, it's just very nice
because you can actually get them.
Oh, okay. Well, it's just so it's like the manual, great. Yeah. I do not need more power. Like the idea that there's more power available is kind of bonkers, right? It's just utterly unnecessary. It was like this electric banana yellow kind of color. It's a new it's Cartagena yellow.
Oh, that color, yeah.
It's a new color. And so it's like very now, right? Very now color. But the interior has the wood shift knob, which is standard, and then these black plaid seats, which are so it's this very retro, and the entire interior design is pretty like old school 911. So it's like classic interior, very now exterior, very cool, like that.
So, sorry, Carlos, I just had to bring something up because you mentioned it, and it's something I've been thinking about for a while. Do you think we're at a point where EVs have distorted us so much that even gas cars are starting to get too fast and too powerful, because like we're at a point where it's, I don't need more power. Always it was like more power, because the 6-pack Charger with the 550 horsepower to 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds, and that's not like a super sporty Hellcat special. It's like, do we need a 3.9 second sedan? Like, can we save yourself the money and do it in under 5 seconds and still be happy?
Yeah, well, I mean, especially even like if you ever noticed how people accelerate, like I'll be going onto the highway and like everybody's like at 45 by the time they reach the end of a very long on ramp. Like, really, you need 3.5 out of a Tesla? Cool. You're
had a
getting there in
Mazda
13.5. Yeah.
Sorry, I had a Mazda 2. So 5-speed manual, 100 horsepower, slowest car probably available in its time. And I remember one week I did a little experiment and I punched it off the line of every stoplight. And twice in a week, someone beat me. So it just proves no one's using the power that they have. If my little 2 could out accelerate people up to legal speeds.
I mean, I've beaten people off the line in my electric bicycle.
My response to that, Mike, is like we were already doing it before EVs became a thing. Like too much power was a thing for the last 15 years. I think once the Camry started pushing 300 horsepower, that's when we probably were good.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I remember when the last gen Impala came out and it had 306, I think, in the like LS hubcap rental spec, and I remember having one. It was like 3,500 pounds, and I was like, this thing's like stupid fast for being a big family rental car.
Well, the M5, I really point to that. So I guess it was last year's Pebble Beach Concours thing, and that's where the new M5 Touring was revealed, and that has like 700 horsepower, doesn't it? Around there, the new M5. Anyway, it's ridiculous. So that's why we were there to see the debut of this car. But as you know, it was also the Monterey Historic Races. The journalists there were given the opportunity to drive some classic M5s. So myself and 2 other journalists took the one from I'm just going to forget the names of these, the internal codes, but let's say like a 94 one. So the second M5. Then the classic E39, so the 3rd generation one, and then the 4th generation one, which was the V10. So we drove those back to back to back. The 2nd gen was like you had to drive it on door handles to keep up with the other 2. That one felt much older than it was. The E39 is as magnificent as you have always heard. And we were on Carmel Valley Road, which is like the spectacular driving road, like it's fantastic. The E39 was like could go on that, like you could really drive it as hard as you could. The V10 though was, it is a kind of like from a driver's perspective, in many ways it is the better car, especially from a rigidity standpoint. But that V10, I couldn't go faster with that car. It had more power than the road needed, which is like, there's the demarcation, this great, brilliant driver's road. A car from the year 2000 with a V8 was like, that's how much power could be handled by that road. Any more from like a couple of years later was too much. Meanwhile, we're 3 generations beyond that thing that was too much and now has 700 horsepower. So we are 20 years beyond like too much power at this point. So
almost double the power. I mean, almost double the weight, but
but still, it was so illustrative of maybe we don't need this much. And that Carrera T is also another example of like that car. I didn't have to drive it that hard on my local mountain roads for it to be great. I could drive it fairly slowly, which is still like 60 on like a mountain road, but kind of keep it steady, and you have the feels through just everything. Everything is just so feelsome that it's enjoyable no matter how fast you're driving. You do not need to drive at 150 and get thrown in jail in order to like to make it feel like it's not just driving itself. And
so, it's interesting you say that with those BMWs. Kyle, you ever driven the V10 one?
Yeah. So actually, the reveal that James is talking about, you got to drive classics there. I did the launch for the M5 and the M5 Touring in Germany, and it was the same thing. They brought out all the old
Okay.
M5s, and I had a similar experience where I drove the second gen M5, the first Touring, and yeah, it actually it felt a little slow, right? Like you really had to push it, but then the E39 was glorious and incredible. The V10, because we were in Europe, we only got the SMG one. We didn't get the manual to use. And that transmission kind of ruined the car for me in the sense that I never really got the full experience. It sounded great when you revved it high, but otherwise, it felt like we were quickly approaching that point of too much car. Yeah. So what were you going to ask about that, Mike?
So, well, just before I ask, just one quick thing. You guys have both brought up, and it's so true. Cars from like the early to mid '90s felt so much older and different than cars like 5-6 years later, like around 2000. And I found that when I drove the Lexus. I drove the SC400, and I was like, this feels like a roly-poly slow monster. And I drove the IS300, which is only like 5 years newer, and it felt so buttoned down. But anyway, I wasn't doing this job when I got to drive the 400 horsepower V8 M5 that you guys are going on about. I briefly got to drive the V10, and then I drove the next generation. And even from that V10 to the next generation, when we went to turbo V8s, I was like, this doesn't feel like a driver's car anymore. It became a big, heavy sledgehammer Grand Tour. Like, it had all the power I could ever want, but it wasn't that fun compared to what these older, slightly slower cars were. So, yeah, I think we've kind of got there.
And complication hasn't improved anything. I mean, even that the V10 added, oh boy, there's a little button that does something. This was 2 years ago. I don't entirely remember. But like now you get in them and there's all of these settings and there's buttons, and like I don't think it's necessarily better.
I thought it was interesting on the M5 launch. They talked about the different transmission settings, right, that are on the little nubby shifter. There's the 3 settings about shift speed and aggression. And we tried all the different settings, and the most aggressive one actually, like, it's a thunk. It feels like you're breaking something in the transmission. And when we talked to the PR person about it, he said that was very intentional because they wanted to add drama. But yeah, like, unless you're on a racetrack, you don't need to use that setting. And I was like, so, I mean, in all honesty, why put it there? Because how many people are ever actually going to track their M5?
Well, no. Well, even like your 911 Carrera T. Drive out on a track.
No.
It's even suspension settings, right? So that GLE. So I was driving it in comfort mode on the highway. It was lovely, really, really impressive. And it wasn't like nautical rebound on bumps or anything. But I get to the mountains and immediately just instinct, I'll put it in sport. Let's drive around. Oh, this is very capable. It's not like sporty at all, but this is capable, controlled, yada, yada. I then put it in comfort and heave ho, Captain. This is flopping and floating around over corners. Like, wow, this is a profound difference. This is kind of like what you want the suspension differences to be. But then there's so many cars that have like comfort, sport. Then there's like a sport plus or track mode. I am never pressing that button. Like even like that 911. I have great mountain roads. I am not engaging Sport Plus. It's too firm. It upsets the chassis. It upsets everything in you. But maybe if you are in Germany or on a racetrack, great, press it. But it's just unnecessary, and that is so common. I very rarely like engage those firmest track settings. It's just not, or like even like a Civic Type R, whatever the hard firmer one is. No, absolutely not.
So what you guys are saying is you don't need 7 M buttons on your steering wheel, and also what's with the Germans' obsession with having boost modes like EV, gas? It doesn't matter. Every single car now, it's like if you push this for 10 seconds, you get more power. It's like, just give me the power if I want it. Like, why do I have to push a button?
Because it's great for the gram.
What's next? We're going to have EVs that make noise and shake when you're doing launch mode and make a whole production and light shows. Oh wait, we already have all that.
We have that. What I find less impressive are the boost modes where it's like, oh, we give you 10 extra pound-feet or something for 10 seconds. And I'm just like, okay, like no one's going to notice that. No one.
Yeah, no.
Well, what they should do, I think, is the button should just, it's like if you hit the star on Mario Kart. And just like the ambient lights go nuts and the sound system goes dun 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 dun. Like, give me that for 10 seconds. That would be great.
And the windshield somehow smears the entire world, so it looks like it's flying by at twice the speed.
Yeah, give me the ability to fire a red turtle at the car in front of me. Is that so much to ask? I don't think so.
Merging at 45 miles an hour.
I feel like there is. I swear I read a press release. I probably wrote about something this year where there's something that actually integrates all of the ambient lighting and stuff when you go into a different drive mode. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, like if we're gonna make this all about the feeder of it, go all in.
Yeah,
BMWs do that. I mean, you can change it too, but
like it does the animation
background. Yeah.
That's
what their drive modes are. Now experiences. That is so confusing.
The annoying thing, but I think they've quickly changed it, is for a little bit there. I think when the new 5 Series launched, if you change drive modes, it would have an animation come up on the touchscreen, but then it would just stay on the drive modes. It wouldn't go back to whatever screen you were on first, and it was like, this is terrible. But they have since changed that. So,
well, speaking of ambient lighting, I have the new A6 e-tron from Audi, and so that has the wraparound ambient lighting strip from across each front door across the dash, and so it's just a little strip just underneath the windshield. And so when you turn on a turn signal, actually the right in the corner of that strip actually blinks green with the turn signal. So you have standard turn signals, and you have I kind of like that. It's kind of cool, especially how many turn signals are actually hidden behind the steering wheel for me. So I've never seen the turn signal in my E-Class from 13. It might not have them as far as I know. But it was kind of a cool thing. And I'm sure it like flashes if I'm about to run into a bridge pillar or something.
Like blind spot monitoring just changes color.
Yeah, no, the blind spot monitor is the old Audi light in the mirror housing, not the mirror itself. So that was kind of interesting. I will say though, the screen, that interior, Kyle, we were talking about the E-Class, like too much screen, and you mentioned like how like the design, just you can't do anything with a screen, and it's so true. That interior is just so screeny. There's nothing to it. Audi, all the details that Audi used to be so good about is just gone now, because there's this huge screen, and like so much of that. If you're using Apple CarPlay, like a quarter of that screen is just album art.
Yeah, and to that point, I think I appreciate the usefulness of digital instrument clusters, because it can be great to be able to put my navigation right beside my speedometer, let's say, right? Like, so that my eyes aren't moving far away from the task at hand. I get it, but I mean, with the 911T, actually, that was my example recently of, you lose a little bit of specialness when you open the car door, and before anything turns on, it's just, you're looking at black. Like, just there's nothing there. It's just a blank screen. And before, at least you had, the central tack, and maybe it was a red one because you got the special kit. And like, I just feel like we're missing a little bit of the experience when the car isn't on, right?
Yeah. Well, also, fancy watches are not, Apple watches. They're still analog. They look more expensive. They are more expensive. I think we'll go back to something that I don't. The end game ultimately is a 65-inch television that with a steering wheel growing out of it. So that's ugly, and that's not going to happen. So
no, I'll one better you on that, because I think what they're trying to do, and it doesn't work, as we're saying, is they're trying to make it like the screen lets you personalize how the interior looks. So like I have the Denali Terrain right now. When you get in, all the screens give you the Denali latitude, longitude, and it's kind of cool. But I think the end game is the entire dash, curve, everything is just a screen. and then you can like make it whatever color you want or put whatever design you want on it, and then your info places. And I mean, the BMW iX3 isn't too far off trying to do that already.
True. Yeah. I just like, do these people not live in the real world? Like, I mean, I don't have kids. You guys do. Like, would you really want a pillar to pillar screen with your kids?
Well,
like
kids can't sit up front, so
not yet.
They're stuck in the back,
but soon. And like, what happens if you scratch part of the screen? Like, I don't see how this is practical. And I mean, there are advantages. I think the Mustang is a great example where I can put the dials from the older models on the, like, I think that's a cool feature, but I think it's also unique to a Mustang. I don't think a Corolla buyer is like, dang, I really want to get 94 dials.
No, but as a BMW person, I would say like they're digital. They have all digital, and they are grossly underutilized, and they're bad. Like, it's just like the speedometer is on the outer, the speedometer and the tach are on the outer reaches, like half, you can barely see them, and the middle is like an unmarked map. Cool, thank you for that. And then like, why can't you just throw us a bone? Like, BMW gauges were iconic, and they look pretty much the same for decades. Just give us amber colored, like, throwback ones. It's something like Mercedes would probably do, but like BMW isn't, and Porsche's doing it. And it's just this, it's disappointing.
BMW will do it, but it'll be a subscription model.
Yeah. Exactly.
We don't give them, I think, credit for enough things at times. So I'll call out GMC again with that Terrain. They really done their screens right, because the digital driver information, I could put in like 4 different gauge modes, and then I can do native navigation, and when I have my CarPlay hooked up, I can also do Waze in the gauge cluster. And then the dash screen is huge, but it's low, and the bottom row of buttons are actual buttons or touchscreen, and you can change those around, so you have the choice what you want to do, and like, it's just well thought out and easy to use. And it's just like you're saying, like, there's so many companies that don't do that right. Chrysler's another one or Stellantis, that their Uconnect's pretty good too, but GM seems to have taken that idea and put it a step up. And when I put on home screen, I can have my CarPlay and Waze, and still have a box that has my audio, and then to have another box I can put whatever I want. Which, again, not enough manufacturers do that. It's like CarPlay or nothing. It's like, let me split the screen up at once. So
I had a Terrain with that same system. I loved it. Because it's the standard GM one is pretty good, right? So like the general menu, like it's like like a Chevy, whatever the Chevy version of the GMC you're talking about at any given time, that has the widescreen oriented one. I like using that. It's but the same menu, like the same general menu layout ethos is the same in the GMC. It's just like dropped down it's just extended. The width is almost the same. So you just add real estate, and instead of just packing in info bar for something, it kind of just spreads everything out. So it just makes everything easier to find. To your point, it still has toggle switches for the climate control, which are nicer pieces than what's in the Chevys, and much nicer than the touch buttons in the Audi out front. And I love having like that Apple CarPlay thing. Yeah, it doesn't take up the whole screen. It doesn't need to. It's 15-inch. It's a television. I don't need that.
Exactly.
Right? So like, I can have the Apple CarPlay Google Maps up there and see my satellite radio song. It's great. It was such an example of how to do it well.
And in truest GM form, that means they're going to get rid of it.
Say, see you later, CarPlay.
Yeah.
Well, grab your 25 Terrain Denali's while you can, I guess.
Yeah, I will say, my wife has a what the hell does she have? An Optic. She has a Cadillac Optic, so that is one without Apple CarPlay. She had a Kia Niro for almost 3 years. She never used CarPlay once, so she does not care. I care because I use the Apple podcast app. So if I start a podcast while walking the dogs, it would be nice for it to transfer into the car, and I can't. I have to use Bluetooth, and then I have to control it with the phone, and that's not ideal. I did not find an MLB app in the Google Play thing, so that's another thing I have to use from my phone.
It's a big cross.
Yeah, so it bothers me a little more, but I'm not like too upset by it. It would not be something I would not buy the car for. It still reads me my messages, my text messages. That's fine.
Yeah, I think the Optic, I drove it in the summer and I really enjoy it. And I think I would suggest people get it if they were interested, even if without the CarPlay thing. And now I hear that for 26, it's going to be rear drive as an option.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's really cool. So,
oh, that's going to be a big difference. I can tell you right now, it's a huge difference, and I'm kind of cheesed about it. Not just the rear wheel drive, but the fact that this has the Ultium system is kind of like different like Lego things that plug in here and there, and so although it's all-wheel drive, it is kind of more like the Equinox that is a front-wheel drive, and it's kind of like a Honda CR-V. Like you get slippage, and the all-wheel drive just kind of peters. The rear axle just gives you a little power, right? This thing feels like a front-wheel drive vehicle. You get some torque steer in it, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't do rear drive, what they're doing from the get-go. Now, the performance gap is huge. So the rear wheel drive makes about the same power as the existing all-wheel drive, and then the new all-wheel drive is giant. So from a value perspective, you now kind of have to pay more if you live in Toronto, right? Like you kind of have to pay more for even more performance that you don't really need. So from that perspective, the original was better, but
yeah, getting back to our point about how cars have too much power now.
Yeah.
Like I drove, I think it was last winter, maybe it was 2 winters ago. I had the Volvo. It was the XC40 Recharge. Now it's the EX40, but I had the rear drive version of it in the winter on winter tires, and it was awesome over the holidays because I got better range and honestly, like, what was it? It's like 290 horsepower or something. Plenty. But the thing is at least here, it's like $3,000 more to get all-wheel drive and an extra 100 horsepower. And so people are just going to get it because all-wheel drive has had a very successful marketing campaign for 20 years. But also it's barely more money, right? Like if you're paying every month, you're not really going to notice the difference, and you think you have to get the better vehicle.
Yeah. But it's also like that with, you said it's like well, like I said, we're dealing with Canadian funds here, but usually like all in the States, at least the all-wheel drive is like $1,800 for like an ICE vehicle.
Yeah.
But the electric ones tend to be $3,000 to $4,000 or $5,000 more because it's adding 100 horsepower too.
Yeah, you're getting a whole other motor.
Yeah. Well, we could go on about horsepower forever, but we should really let you get back to your day, James, and get back to our show. We need to get Colum on and then wrap it up and not have our listeners be listening to Kyle and I talk for too long. I know, there's going to be a limit when you're ready to move on. But thank you again for joining us. You will probably be our first 3-time guest down the road because it's always great talking to you.
Yeah.
I enjoy coming on.
Yeah, it was a good time. Thanks so much, James.
You are welcome.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. And we will talk to you again soon. All right, welcome back. We once again have Colum joining us for Formula One, which stands for Ferrari One as the things are going. It seems like last year, well, not even last year, it was early this year. It felt like Red Bull's kind of imploding. Well, it seems like Ferrari's doing it this year.
They're crazy and straight from the top, as I guess Red Bull did too. But what a crazy! I couldn't believe when I saw this news that John Elkann, the chairman or whatever of Ferrari, came out, and they're like, first I heard these rumors that he said, oh, like the drivers should talk less and focus more on driving or whatever. And I thought that's like a misinterpretation because you see this stuff all the time. It's some Italian website, and then that gets translated to Google Translate somewhere. Somebody misinterprets it, and that gets blown out of proportion. But as it turns out, no, that's not it. It didn't get blown out of proportion. He legitimately just said the driver should focus more and talk less, and that's it. Which is wild. And for the video here, the little image below is an awesome comment of Jensen Button replying to the Sky Sports thing saying maybe John should lead by example. So wow. But like fallout from this has been tremendous, and you can only imagine if it came to this. Like I know like Ferrari had a bad weekend at but like I don't know. I kind of thought like Lewis's crash was kind of Lewis's fault. Charles's wasn't. Sometimes like the Lewis crash, bit of a racing incident too. Like whatever. But I don't know. Clearly, the Ferrari brass are not happy with their drivers, and the shocking thing is to see the drivers sort of teaming up and fighting back. So,
yeah. So, two things. First, the funniest I think post on social I saw after the race was it said Ferrari came second and third, and then at the bottom 2 DNF. But I think it's one of those historic legacy things of Ferrari was like always one of the teams. And I mean, they're still a good team, but it was like that was the team that at different periods to chase, and they still have this belief they are like the best team. And like we've said, like it's the one people want to race for. It's why Lewis is there. They're like the New York Yankees of F1, or I can't think of the football team everyone wants to play for. Cowboys? No, I don't think so anymore.
Cowboys. It used to be the Cowboys is the traditional one, but that hasn't been it for a long time. But that's true of Ferrari as well, right? So,
but I think their management still think like they're getting all this criticism is coming from their drivers, and I still think they have this opinion like we're high. Like, we'll just replace the drivers and get whoever like we have historically, and they need to like whatever. But everyone kind of sees that it's actually Ferrari that's in chaos. It's not necessarily the drivers. And it's been a joke for years. And it's like, you're not this powerhouse you used to be. Like ever since you forgot to put a tire out on a pit stop. Like it's just been an ongoing joke for years. And yeah,
it has been. It's not good. So I don't know if you got the next slides there. So these were the comments from, like to see that John Elkann comes, and then Lewis Hamilton posts I back my team. I back myself. I will not give up. Like, wow. Like he's just coming right out, and he didn't like just let it slide under the radar. Okay. It was a public criticism, and it's getting a public pushback, which is like they're taking this messy fight to the streets. And you can only imagine if they're doing this publicly, like how bad is it behind the scenes? Like, what are we seeing? Like it must be ugly.
I have a feeling the team, and maybe from team principal down, or maybe one step below, I think they're getting the heat from the top, and I think it's kind of becoming like a team versus the execs. I don't think it's sort of like a Lewis versus the team, and I think that's how he worded this. Like this is obviously carefully crafted by, I'm sure, his PR people, so it sounds like he's very supportive, but the underlying is basically like we as the F1 Ferrari team are doing everything we can, and you're not helping, basically.
Yeah. Well, so hit the next slide. The Charles Leclerc one was similar, even more subtle when he says, "What a very difficult weekend in Sao Paulo. Disappointed to come back home with no points at all for the team. And what is the critical moment for season to fight for the second place in the Constructors' Championship? It's uphill from now, and it's clear that only unity can help us turn that situation around in the last 3 races." Like just a little, that word unity right there, like boom, right? And there's that little picture of him, hugging Fred Vasseur. I mean, and it came out shortly after Lewis posted his. Like that's wow. Like they seem like in lockstep, and it does feel like it's like maybe I don't know why, but it just like I don't know how it would impact, but it seems more like the team versus Ferrari, the automaker, right? But at the same time, like what can't they do to make this happen? Like what is the restriction?
That's the thing. Sure. Like again, I relate it to other sports. Sometimes you have a coach that is a great coach and has the ideas what to do, but their president or general manager or vice whoever is telling him like, no, this is what you're going to do down there, and it's not what's going to work. It's not what the coach wants to do, but because they're the ones that are in charge, they have to follow it. And I wonder if that potentially is a thing here, where Fred's like, let's do this or this, and the higher ups like, no, we're sticking with this part of the car. We're going to do this strategy, and then it just becomes like, who's really running the ship? I mean, I feel bad because I can almost guarantee Fred's not there next year the way things are going. And I
Yeah,
don't think it's his fault, but
it's crazy at this level that you would have that problem, right? That you would have this problem of basically micromanaging a team. If that is in fact it, right? If they're like, oh no, we're going to do this. It's like you're paying these people enormous sums of money to make the right decisions. You should let them make the right decisions. And if they don't make the right decisions, they screw up. You get rid of them and you move on. Like, that's simple. But to then, like if you don't think, if Fred Vasseur is saying we should be doing something and the corporate execs are saying we should be doing something else, you should clearly get rid of Fred Vasseur. That's what you really think you should do. Or maybe he's right and you should listen to him. So those are the options.
Yeah, I mean, and if you wanted to always micromanage, because some teams do, like they want to run it from back home, and basically your team principal is a figurehead that just relays your message, then why would you hire Fred? Like a likable, outspoken, charismatic guy, you get some boring person that just hides in the background. So.
Exactly. Hire an automaton and pay them peanuts. You were talking about changes. I saw there was a comment from Ted Kravitz, broadcaster. This morning said something. He says if they don't have a good start to 2026, they will make changes. And maybe these statements are just the first sign, a sign that upper management is irritated by these performances. It's funny. He goes on to basically say, Ted Kravitz is sort of insinuating, because we've heard these stories about Hamilton, basically brought a lot of information and data to the team from his past. He wrote these essays or dossiers on driving and so he says this is thinking about the dossiers Hamilton is compiling, a sort of model based on what he learned at McLaren and Mercedes. Has Ferrari perhaps felt offended by these dossiers? Maybe they thought, okay, thanks, but could you just focus on driving the car? So that could be it. It could be that it's so really thinking that the drivers should just be driving and not doing anything else. And yet we know from history that that's exactly why they were good under Schumacher, is because Schumacher told them what to do and they did it. Unless we've all been misled in some way, but that's my understanding, that he browbeat them into, look, do it this way. They did it this way. They were champions. It's very, very odd.
I know. I mean, how many, again, you never know because you're hearing it from the driver's side, but you look at all the super successful drivers in history, Lauda, Senna, Schumacher, and the common theme is always they came into the team and they knew as much about engineering as driving. And they said, we've got to change all this to be competitive. And lo and behold, they were. So, I mean, that might not be the case, but part of it too could just be the way the car was designed. It was designed around Charles and previously Carlos, and Hamilton's driving style and car setup could have been completely different. And if they're not willing to budge and it's not suiting him, it's sort of like we said with Max, right? Like the Red Bull setup for him. And if he goes somewhere else, what if it's not? Yeah. Maybe but you know what? Hamilton just got to endure. I mean, remember Chico? We went through this a couple of years ago, and now he's in, I think, Imola testing an old Ferrari that Cadillac's using as a test bed. So, things can be good again one day.
They can, but I don't know. I don't see, there's nowhere but down for Hamilton. Unless it was some amazing return to Mercedes, which I can't see happening, because I feel like even the way Toto speaks now, I feel like Toto and him have severed ties almost. So I don't see that happening. I think
Mercedes to Alpine confirmed.
Sorry,
Hamilton to Alpine. But that quote you had is so Ferrari, where it's like, if things don't improve early in 26, there'll be changes. It's that's so Ferrari. Let's wait till we start failing and then mid-season try to fix things, as opposed to do it all now and get ready for the new car, new regulations.
We are checking. They're always comment back. It's guys. Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens. We should off season make some predictions for the future year of how long it takes before Ferrari fires someone or something.
Sort of side bet.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, well, moving on, one of the newest teams, I just kind of alluded to Cadillac a second ago, Audi, which is really just Kick Sauber rebranded, showed off, I guess, what their F1 car is going to look like livery-wise. I mean, this isn't the 26 car, obviously. They painted an old one, but it's basically the Audi
it's a concept car. Yeah, and I guess it's kind of they say, basically, it'll look like this plus badging, is the plus sponsors. I guess that's the gist of it, right? So
and obviously need sponsors, and I kind of have a feeling they may sponsor their own car for the first year, or at least the first while, to get the name out there. So
oh yeah,
this is like the Audi color scheme, and it looks great. Like, I think if any manufacturer could just do their own color scheme on a car, I mean, Ferrari kind of does, but it would look great. It'll look not as good with badging, but if there's just the 4 rings and Audi badges here and there and smaller sponsors, great. But it won't last. They'll eventually have a real sponsor, and they will dictate probably more of the color scheme. But to start, it'll look cool.
They do have a bunch of other sponsors they've already lined up. We talked about it once, I think. Revolut. There's a fintech company that does like budget. It's like an alternative to having it's like a bank, credit card company, etc. It's bigger in Europe. They've got a couple clients lined up there as well. So, but I think it looks good. The sort of interesting note that it sounds like the red Audi rings will be potentially making its way onto future road cars as well. That's like they've sort of hinted at that. But otherwise, it's always funny how they roll these out, right? It's like, is this the way it will look or won't look? And we don't really know. Sometimes it's just like, it's part of the hype train. Got to get people talking. Either way, I mean, it looks like a good thing. And they in everything they come out with, and I guess they kind of have to say this, but they've said like, we're committed to winning. We are not interested in being a backmarker team. And so you have to think with that they will be looking for, not to slag on guys like Nico and stuff like that who are driving with them next year. But as we start to look a little bit into the future, if they're really going to start looking for championships, they're going to need some top tier drivers. And so they get through year 1 or 2, and then maybe that's where Lewis Hamilton goes, although he'll be an old man by then. So
who knows? I mean, the looks distinct, which Cadillac's looking for too, and I think it's important for both brands to show like we're new and here we are. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It's crazy. This season's almost over, and then it'll be all off-season stuff. But we'll have another race coming up soon, Vegas, and go from there. But
hopefully it's good. The last race, Sao Paulo, as your favorite race, it was freaking amazing. It was like another just outrageously good race. I wish they were all like that. Sao Paulo always brings a good, even when it didn't rain, and it was still amazing. So
yeah,
that's
it was
rare.
Good times. All right, well, thanks for joining. We will have you back next week, and we'll be preparing for the next race and probably more Ferrari fallout, because that seems to be the theme right now.
It looks like
until
it.
Then.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Later.
Bye.
So that just about wraps things up on the Auto Guide Show, brought to you by eBay Motors. We'll just quickly cover what we've been doing this week and what's ahead. So as I've mentioned on the cast a couple times, I have the GMC Terrain Denali. I don't want to get too much into it. I've already talked a lot about it, but it's I didn't overly care about the last one. I did not like it. It was just like, eh. And I got to really dig into what they've done to change this one besides the things I can physically see, because I quite like it. What are you driving this week?
I'm driving the Palisade. Yep. Wasn't meant to. I feel like you were actually supposed to drive this, Mike, and then you ended up in the GMC. So I am in this. Greg has driven it recently. It's the XRT Pro, so it's the off-roady trim. I spent a bit of time with it at the launch, and so I'm living with it for a week, and I will have my full thoughts on it soon. And then next week, both of us are traveling. I take off a little bit earlier, though, before this actually publishes, to go to Spain to drive the BMW iX3, which I've been really looking forward to. It was on my list of most anticipated vehicles last year. So it is the all-electric, roughly X3-sized SUV, and it brings in a whole new generation of everything, right? It's a new powertrain, new infotainment, new styling. It's a big deal for BMW, so I'm really looking forward to it.
It's almost like it's a whole new class for BMW.
Yes, like some sort of Neue Klasse.
So next week, as you mentioned, I'm on a trip too. I will actually be in the air probably when this goes live, and I am going to Sedona to drive the Outback. And it's one of those vehicles I've been really curious to drive, because everybody's made much to do about it. It doesn't look like a wagon anymore. It looks like a bigger Forester. They've kind of gone more into the family styling. But I'm curious if it still drives like an Outback, because if it does, then I'm more okay with it, because I get Subaru's point. Everyone wants an SUV. So you make it look like one, but still have all the things that we liked about the Outback, then I'm fine. So we'll see how that is. And I will be gone for a lot of the week, so I don't have anything to drive when I get back. But I will be back for the podcast next week.
Same. Yeah. So I guess, Mike, I guess we'll talk then.
Yeah, so we will summarize some more news and reviews, and probably not what we did on our trips because there'll be an embargo. But
Probably.
that's just another week they'll have to wait for. So until then, this has been the Auto Guide Show, and we'll see you later.
So long, everybody.
eBay has reinvented car buying. From click to curb, everything is covered. Ever try to buy your car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger on blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car, it's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay, things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Carmel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.